I think the vast majority of child psychiatrists, psychologists, people working in the field now would tell you that we would like very much for the diagnosis to be changed from a deficit to dysregulation, right? So that the challenges are in regulation of attention, not a frank deficit. Because people with ADHD can pay attention, many, not all, people at the higher severity or, end of the spectrum may not, but for the vast majority, they can pay attention to things that are interesting, exciting, that has an emotional kick, a concert, a video game, something that's very stimulating to the brain and
or just something that they love, interested in.
Might be building Legos for a little kid, or even a teenager, might be reading. I mean, it's interesting because reading is often very, very challenging for kids with ADHD, but it's primarily the reading that is boring or difficult. Right.
But reading what they want to read, which is true for a lot of people.
And hyperfocus is the other end of it. The difficulty with disconnecting from something that you are super focused on is a big problem at the other end. So, but that is still can come as part of ADHD. So really, I think even within the field, as much as they're sort of saying, well, the field is wrong and here's the research, I think functionally we are much more aware of it being a dysregulation issue.
Right. But interestingly, from the article, it's noting the increase in diagnosis. Now that, just like with so many other things, it's like, is it because there's better awareness? Mm-hmm. Is it because we're more willing to apply a diagnosis to a situation that a child or young adult is experiencing? Or are there, in fact, more cases, more people experiencing this?
Right.
And of course, if you think about how much the world has changed in the last 40 or 50 years, any or all of those things might be true.
Might be a part of it, and for sure. And I think, my answer to that question, people ask, as a child psychiatrist, I get that question all the time. Do you think it's underdiagnosed? Do you think it's overdiagnosed? And my answer is usually that I do think there's overdiagnosis. I think unfortunately, there are situations in which there are these rapid fire diagnoses that are all about just getting medications. And, especially in the pandemic, those kind of exploded, but they existed before. And, sort of poorly, not well established full evaluations and, a quick label and medication prescription. So that absolutely is a thing that happens. But there are also kids I meet, especially young women, but not entirely, who get to 10th, 11th grade, and they have clearly been struggling, particularly with attentive, presentation, and have never been picked up. And, again, not that means they need medication. Sometimes they do, but that the identification of may have been very helpful to them in terms of how they might have changed how they study or what they do or what services we might have provided in schools. So it is still very much missed in I think particularly some subpopulations. But there is this whole wave of overdiagnosis, which
Right. Well, yeah.